This is Gardener Israel, trying to bring you a little video of something to look at besides myself, my own face, while I talk a little bit. This is a miniature mule right here. This girl's name is Junebug. She's kind of sleeping in the sun over there. I'm trying to hold this camera steady, and I'm working on a camera mount that I can stick on my window. But what I got on my mind this morning is to try to tell you about something very important, and that is that there was a man some 2,000 years ago that came to earth. His name was Yeshua. He was born in Israel. There she goes. She turned her head. And this man grew up to be about 30 years old in the land of Israel and declared himself to be the Messiah. And he went around for a period of between 1 and 3 years. If experts differ on that, but apparently no more than 3 years, and possibly 1 year. And he worked all kind of miracles. Now this is historical fact as well as can be determined. There are eyewitnesses to this man's miracles that he did. By the way, this man that I'm calling Yeshua, because it's his name, is also known as Jesus Christ in other translations of the material of the time. This is historical material. So this man went around. He didn't just do a couple of miracles. He did hundreds or thousands of miracles. Now, we've heard about dozens and dozens of them by reading in the literature of the New Testament, Chronicles, or of Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John, and also probably in some other literature, and is actually recorded in what's known as secular literature. That is, people that weren't coming at it from a religious point of view. The bottom line is that this man didn't just work a few miracles. He healed people wholesale. It says that he healed all that came to him. And there were lots of people that came to him. Whenever he would go to a town and start preaching, and it became apparent that he had the power to heal people, then the people that had sick folk at home would bring the people out there to him in mass, and he would heal all that were brought to him, of all sorts of things, of everything. So we aren't just talking about a few miracles. We're talking about the most miraculous thing that has ever happened that we know of on earth. Now, you can find these stories in the Bible. I'm just looking at Junebug over there. She's scratching her rear end on the fence there. She's got a little itch. There she goes. She's about 5 years old. She's a miniature mule. She was born with a miniature horse mother, and her dad, or the sire, was a Jerusalem donkey. And Junebug's got, if you see, she's got horse ears, not mule ears. And she's going to take off and leave us without anything to take a picture of. So I'm going to pick up the camera here from my little station and try to follow what she's doing. It'll be a little shaky here for a minute. Okay, here we go, Junebug. Okay, there we go. I'm going to... Sorry, folks, I got to untie the camera from the truck because I didn't want to drop it. In just a minute. Just look at the scenery here while I do that. All right, now we got Junebug back again. Where did she go? There she is. Okay, she's moved. She got tired of us looking at her. Now this Yeshua the Messiah claimed to be the Messiah, the long-awaited Messiah that was prophesied by prophets in the Bible, the Old Testament Bible. And he finally made his arrival on earth and worked all of these miracles and told people that if they would believe that he was the Messiah, that he had the power to grant them eternal life. Now, you're going to, if you haven't heard this before, and I guess there's people out there that haven't heard it before, you're going to find this incredible, just like I did the first time I heard it. But the thing about Yeshua is that he didn't just run his mouth, he backed it up. He backed up his claims with miracles that only God could do. Oh, by the way, he claimed to be God in the flesh. And I'm not going to try to go through all the scriptures and all. Matter of fact, I'm not one of these people that can recall scriptures verbatim, word for word. I have to open the Bible and read it, and I can remember the details. I can paraphrase them. But basically, he said he was God. And then he backed up that claim with miracles. And he then told his followers the plan, and the plan was that he was going to get himself crucified and die as a sacrifice, a blood sacrifice for the sins of the world. And that all the people that believed this then and in the future, he would grant them eternal life. He would solve the biggest problem facing humanity, which is that we die. And that's a big problem. As soon as we're born, we face that problem. Well, this man, Yeshua the Messiah, claimed to have the answer to that problem. Now, a certain number of people do believe this and are going to believe this. Maybe you're one of those people. And what I'm trying to do is to give you a little heads up or a little teaser on what he claimed, and then you are going to have to, if you're interested in this, if you think that it's possible that this could be true, then go to that Bible and go to the New Testament and read these stories about him and make up your own mind. It's possible that you are one of those that are going to believe that he is the Messiah and have that eternal life. There was a point in my life where I didn't believe it, nor did I even understand it. I think the real problem was I didn't know what it was. I knew that this Jesus, as I knew him back then, was a really great man, and I wasn't really aware that he claimed to be God. Even though I had read the Bible, that part just went in one ear and out the other. And got to befriend an older man, and we got, talking philosophy and the meaning of life. This is when I was in my 30s, early 30s. And he just told me point blank that Jesus was God. I said, well, how could that be? How could a man be God? And this man was a rather humble man, a believer, and he said to me something like, well, I don't know, but he is God. And he said it so earnestly that I began to wonder about it and started checking into it. Of course, I went back to the Bible and read what Yeshua said about himself, which he did certainly claimed to be God in a sense, in the sense of God's Son, or he said he was equal with God. He and the Father were one. And then somebody tipped me off. I think I was listening to the radio of a man named C.S. Lewis, who was an author back in the 40s and 50s in England that wrote a book called Mere Christianity, and a lot of other stuff too, by the way. He wrote that The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, or The Wardrobe, the Witch, and the Lion, or whatever. He wrote that. It's become a popular movie. And C.S. Lewis said the same thing, and he pointed out that anybody that claimed to be God, speaking of Yeshua, if he wasn't God, then there was something wrong with him. That's the definition of insanity, or craziness, is a person that claims to be God that's not. But like I said, he backed it up. He backed it up with these miracles, and then he backed it up with the biggest miracle of all, is that he walked out of the grave after being killed. Now, we can't prove any of this to be true, by the way. We can't prove anything much. There's very little that's provable here on earth, honestly. And that's the situation that God has put us in. We've got to assess this information that we have, because we have a problem. And that problem is that our clock is ticking, and we know, we're smart enough to know that we're not going to live forever like it's going here, you know, in the flesh. Well, my reason for saying this stuff to you is because this Yeshua Messiah wanted his followers, of which I am, to tell people about this and to inform, to declare his name before men. And I'm declaring his name, Yeshua the Messiah, popularly known as Jesus Christ. But by the way, that name Yeshua is becoming more and more known. And there's a lot of people out there telling people about that name, besides myself. Junebug is just laying in the sun, just having a nice morning. It's about 32 degrees, by the way, out here. Nice and sunny, light wind. About the last of January 2018. And Yeshua also said that his sheep would hear his voice. Well, you might be one of those sheep out there and just not know it. And he also told his followers to feed his sheep. Well, he wasn't talking about food. He was talking about feeding them the word so that they could hear about it. Now, why in the world he decided to let we mortals help him with this endeavor, we have no idea. But it doesn't change the fact that he said that he wanted you to feed his sheep, and that he wanted us to look for the lost sheep. So maybe you're one of those lost sheep out there. Maybe you're not. You know, the sheep that don't belong to him won't even hear his voice. So obviously I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to you, lost sheep. You probably got a Bible laying around your house. Go in there and look at that New Testament. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. These are all eyewitness testimonies of what happened when Yeshua was here in the flesh. And read about it. Make up your own mind. And another thing you could do is pray about it. And in that prayer, ask Yeshua, would you let me know who you are? Would you make it more clear to me who you are? I heard this guy on YouTube saying that you were God, and that just doesn't make any sense at all, how a man could be God, but I'm willing to ask you about it. Well, the truth of it is, friends, that once you ask him about it, you're hooked, because nobody in their right mind is going to ask somebody something like that if they don't think he exists. You see what I'm saying? So once you ask, you're actually admitting that it's true. So ask. Yeshua also said, ask and you will receive. You'll receive the answer. Knock and the door will be open to you. This door is the door to the Garden of Eden, which is another way of saying eternal life. Man was thrown out of the Garden of Eden. That is, he quit and didn't believe in God. He didn't trust in God. And Yeshua can let you back in that Garden of Eden if you'll ask, if you'll knock at that door. He's the guy that's opening the door. He's the doorman. You knock on that door and ask him to let you in. All those, and I'm paraphrasing again, don't know if I'm sorry or not about it, but I can't verbatim quote the Bible without actually reading it. But I know that he said that he's the man that controls the door. And I know that he said if you knock, he'll let you in. And I know that he said that anybody that comes to him, he will in no way turn them away, no wise turn them away. He's waiting for you to knock. Knock on that door. He's ready to let you in. He's going to give you a lot of good things. One thing he's going to give you is the assurance of eternal life. That ought to ease your mind just a little bit. What a wonderful thing to believe. What a wonderful thing. We don't have to worry about dying anymore. Imagine that. Whenever your lights go out here, bingo, you're with him. To be no more dying, no more death, no more tears. No stench of death in heaven, which is another metaphor for the Garden of Eden. This is my take on it now, friends. I'm not a trained Bible scholar. It might actually be good that I'm not. But I think heaven and the Garden of Eden is pretty much the same idea, the same thing. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed looking at Junebug laying there. I guess there's certainly worse things than looking at a little miniature donkey, little miniature mule, I mean, laying on the ground in the sun and enjoying the day. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning here. She's going to lay down a little bit. Oh, yeah. Now, get up, think about something else. See how well fed she is. If she was hungry, she'd be scrounging around. We got some really good hay this year. I guess I've said enough. There she goes. All right, this is Gardener Israel. The old fisherman, I call myself sometime, the old sheep hunter. Maybe I'm the old codger. I hope that my words were inspired by the Spirit of God, and I hope that it helped you to think about checking into this thing, and you just might be one of those lost sheep. I can't do anything else but just tell you what I believe, and I believe what I just told you.